Hi, I'm Dr. Sara DeFrancesco, and today I'm going to share with you the top 3 hormone problems that cause or contribute to anxiety. So if you're someone who's dealing with anxiety or overwhelm, panic disorder, or even agoraphobia, stay tuned because I want you to know that there absolutely are solutions for you. So let's go. So anxiety is affecting over 40 million people in the United States. If you are dealing with anxiety, you are certainly not alone. And you're not alone in your quest to find some real answers either, because most people are told this is a genetic disorder and there's little to nothing you can do about it, so it can be managed by medication only and you'll just have to live with it. Which, speaking from experience, because I used to suffer from anxiety and panic disorders before I found my root cause, is just not an acceptable answer. This is a really hard way to live, and we need to find out what the root cause is for you so that you can heal. So let's jump into the hormone problem. So there's 3 main ones that I see all the time, and this is something that you should work with your doctor and ask them about it, or look for a naturopathic or functional medicine provider, and I'll have more info on how you can do that in the comments below. So first one is the thyroid. So the thyroid is right here. It's an endocrine gland that basically is in charge of all the metabolism in every single cell in your body. You can think of it like a thermostat. So if your thyroid hormone is too much and that thermostat is turned way up, then you're going to be feeling really anxious, your heart is going to race, and you're not going to be able to sleep. So hyperthyroidism, that hyperthyroid activity, is one thing that can lead to anxiety. Now on the flip side, if your thyroid hormone is actually low, then it causes a dysfunction of the energy in your cells, and particularly the energy in your brain. And so this can also lead to both anxiety and depression. So whenever someone shares this with me, I definitely want to check out their thyroid, and I do this with a blood test and with a thorough history. So thyroid is number 1. Number 2, very closely related, is the adrenal system. So the adrenal systems are also endocrine glands. They sit right on top of your kidneys, and they are in charge of your stress hormone cortisol. So cortisol is that thing that gives us superhuman power. It's what you hear about when you hear about moms being able to lift cars to save their children. And cortisol is giving us that burst of energy so we can get out the door and make sure that we survive. Now, the problem is when cortisol is happening all the time, we always feel like we're in survival mode. That flips us into our sympathetic overdrive, that part of our nervous system that is running from the lion, tiger, or bear, and this can lead to feelings of anxiety. So that's also something that you need to get checked out, and we can do that through testing, but also a proper history. So if you are someone who is staying up really late and you feel kind of good staying up late, and then you feel really tired in the morning, that's one sign of an adrenal disorder. Or if you're just feeling exhausted all day long, so sort of that wired and tired, I have very low energy but I feel very anxious, definitely get your adrenals checked out. Now, both the adrenals and thyroid, they support our reproductive hormones. So the third hormone issue that I want to talk about is progesterone. So progesterone is our sex hormone that is dominant in the second half of a menstruating woman's cycle, so between ovulation and the first day of your cycle, so first day of bleeding. And when progesterone is deficient, that can make us feel anxious too, because progesterone actually supports GABA, which is our chill out neurotransmitter. So GABA is what can make you feel sleepy and relaxed. And when your progesterone is deficient, you're not going to get as much GABA. So GABA's job is actually to hit the brakes. If you're someone who you have a lot of worry, if you wake up in the middle of the night and you can't stop thinking about all the things you have to do the next day, and it just seems like you can't stop, you're always wanting to try to shut your brain off, quote unquote, then you need to check out your GABA and your progesterone. Now, when progesterone is low, it will cause these problems. But another hormone disorder is when progesterone is actually the right amount, but your estrogen relative to the progesterone is too high. And one way, tying this back to the thyroid and adrenals, that this can happen is if there's too little progesterone. It's actually when you're in that stress mode, your body is going to basically decide that it's in survival mode and it's going to do its best to support you. And so instead of doing the relaxed progesterone, it's going to steal it and make cortisol. So this is why we have to make sure that you manage your stress. So getting a good history, working with a doctor who can do the labs to check out your thyroid, your adrenals, and your sex hormones, and then doing that mindset work on your own to make sure that you're able to breathe and set yourself back up for success and really focus on getting yourself into that rest and digest parasympathetic mode can be super helpful. So I hope that those tips are helpful. Let me know what your questions are in the comments and talk to you guys next week.